Are we ready, you guys? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Design Review Board. Today is September 12th at 5 p.m. We are starting very promptly today. Senior staff member, please call the roll. Mrs. Young.
Thank you, Chair Gannon. Board Member Coveney.
Here.
Board Member Gibbs.
Here.
Board Member Weil.
Here.
Chair Pro Tem Ballman.
Here.
And Chair Gannon.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And who would like to do the Pledge of Allegiance? Tom? Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, so for this evening, the procedure will go as follows. First, we'll have public communications. At that time, any member of the public can address the board on items not on the agenda, but in the purview of the Design Review Board. Comments will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Yes, even you, 2 minutes. Then we will have the consent calendar. The consent calendar will just pertain to the minutes of the Design Review Board. And then the modification of order, if any. Tonight there will be none. Regular order of business, the chair, I will introduce the item. Ex parte disclosures by the board. Staff will present the summary presentation and comments. Then the board will question the staff. Then we'll have public hearing declared open. At that time, the applicant team will have 5 minutes for a presentation. Any member of the public that wishes to speak will have 3 minutes to comment on the application. Then the applicant team has 3 minutes for rebuttal. The board then questions the applicant. Then the public hearing is closed. The board will then enter into discussion and deliberation. The board will make a motion, or board will take action, make a motion. Somebody will second that motion. There will be a discussion on the motion and then a vote. Any person residing within 300 feet of the project who disagrees with the board's action, they have 14 days to appeal. Okay. So I don't have the minutes on my tab, so would this get continued to?
They're there. They just didn't load in yours.
Just have to download them. They were hard to.
Okay, well, I didn't have a chance to review them. Can we move them forward without my vote?
We just moved to the next meeting.
The minutes, they were provided, I think maybe it wasn't refreshed when you uploaded on the iPad, but on Monday they were posted to the agenda.
They're not on my,
But if she didn't read them,
Oh.
I'd make a motion to delay approval until the next
Okay.
meeting on the 26th.
okay.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Board Member Coveney.
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs.
Yes.
Board Member Weil.
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Ballman.
Yes.
And Chair Gannon.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Great. And now 5.1, located at 31622 Scenic Drive. Drew Blake. Oh,
Hey, Board member, I do apologize. We do need to take public comment and general public comment
oh,
first
right,
before we
right,
get
right,
to
right,
it.
right. I did say that. Okay, so before we begin tonight's agenda, is there any member of the public that wishes to speak? Not on tonight's agenda, but any other issues or concerns? No? Okay. So moving on to 5.1, Mr. Blake, please take your positions. We'll do ex parte, and then Mr. Khan, you can do a brief presentation.
Chair, I went to the site and visited with the homeowner, Jennifer.
And I just visited the site.
I visited the site. Met with Drew Blake, and I moved for expedited review on this one.
Great. And I spoke with Drew Blake on the phone. Mr. Khan, an expedited presentation, please. Oh, public hearing is declared open, by the way, if you didn't get that.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, board members. This is item number 5.1 for design review 24-0981 for a new in-ground swimming pool and spa. The site is located in South Laguna within the Village Community Zone at 31622 Scenic Drive. The staff report finds the project in compliance with development standards and the project meets the design review criteria. Staff has also received public correspondence in support of the project. That concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Board, do you have any questions for staff?
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering why this came before the board, a pool.
It's required according to our municipal code.
Yeah, swimming pools, spas, and their associated
was part of our
equipment are
streamline.
subject to
Okay.
design review.
Okay, I thought it was part of our streamline, sorry.
So I'd like to make the recommendation of approval. Oh, wait. I'd like to make a recommendation for the pools to be able to go through admin. Yeah, okay.
Cool.
All right, we have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, board, for having us. I appreciate it. My name is Drew Blake. I'm the designer for the project at 31622 Scenic Drive. The project site is 4375 square feet, and the home has a very slightly sloping lot towards the street with an existing ADU in the rear portion of the property. The current home is 1,078 square feet, and there's a small 2-car garage off of Scenic Drive. We are here tonight to discuss the smaller pool and spa designed for the middle area of the property, which is in between the house and the front of the lot and the ADU, which sits in the rear of the property. This affords us, in a way, a sound barrier to the rear yard neighbors. We have kept the pool to a smaller size and have designed the pool equipment away from the side yard setbacks for noise purposes. We'll be installing the state-of-the-art Pentair pool filter and heating systems, which now comes with a lower, more reduced noise levels from those older units of the past. We will also be adding pool equipment area, shock absorbers, as well as the sound blanket to further reduce the noise for the unit. The daily pool filtration system will just abide by the city mandates. I believe it's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's correct, Wendy. Just as respect for the neighbors. We have worked hard to keep the size of the pool small, and as well as placing the pool in the spot in the least intrusive spot on the property for the surrounding neighbors. Look forward to your comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, any member of the public wish to speak on this application? No? Drew?
Good.
Okay.
Unless you guys have some questions.
Did you say the pool equipment would be turned off from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
it was p.m. Okay. I have no further questions.
Comments?
Comments? Let's do it.
I agree with the staff report. It's a modest proposal. It's a, tight, small pool that would accommodate this parcel. There's pools in the area. So from an environmental standpoint, it seems to make sense for the location, and the equipment is in a proper location and I believe mitigated for sound and noise. So because of those things, I'm fully supportive of the design review criteria for this project.
And I would echo Board Member Wiles' comments as well. I agree with the chair that I think this is one issue that could be put forward as a streamlining project. It doesn't seem to be design review. It's more a pool. Thanks.
I believe design review criteria has been met and I can support the project.
I'm always concerned when a pool and spa goes into this kind of configuration of the lot, but you got the neighbors' support and you did the kind of mitigations that you need to do. And I think 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. is reasonable, so I support the project.
And I concur what my board member said, so I support the project.
Chair, on that note, I'll move item number 5.1 at 31622 Scenic Drive to recommend to adopt the resolution, to adopt the resolution 24-0981, approving design review 24-0981 for an in-ground swimming pool, spa, and associated equipment, and the findings said action exempt from CEQA under section 15303.
I'll second.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Thalman,
Yes.
and Chair Gannon.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0 for approval. Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to see you again, Drew.
See you.
Like the
Thank
stash.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have 5.2 located at 32002 Sunset Avenue. Well, yeah, there you go. And board members, ex parte,
I drove by the site.
Visited the site and spoke with neighbor Mike Tompkins.
I visited the site and met with Vince and also the owner.
I visited the site and spoke to Vincent DiBasi, and that's it.
and I spoke with Vince DiBiase.
DiBiase, pretty close.
DiBiase?
Hey, it took me years to learn how to say it, so don't worry about it. DiBiase,
DiBiase.
yeah, like I's are like long E's.
Okay. So Daniel Latham, are we recommending a continuance? What's the,
Yeah, Chair, there was, I think, a letter that was sent by Mike Thompson and Lynn Weisner raising two issues. So I think in light of that.
I think we should
Right.
just do the staff report first. I don't
Okay.
think it's going to be super long and then the board can
Okay.
decide what to do.
Yeah.
Daniel Latham, you have the
Right.
floor.
So item 5.2 is for the project at 32002 Sunset Avenue. In this project, it's located in the Village Community Zone. It includes upper level additions, elevated decks, exterior facade and color change, new doors and windows, hardscaping, landscaping, and to maintain non-conforming site conditions such as the encroachment into the north side yard setback and the deficient off-street parking. The home was built under county jurisdiction, and the non-conforming parking condition exists, and the parking for the site has historically been utilized in the front of the property within the front yard, front setback area and the public right-of-way. Upon further review of the parking situation, staff has determined that the project does not comply with the code and that the structure is being enlarged in conjunction with the ADU conversion, thereby making the structure greater than 1,500 square feet. Enlarging or expanding a legal non-conforming structure per the code requires compliance to provide 2 covered parking spaces on site. And so in this situation, we are recommending a continuance, but also you may open the public hearing and provide direction to the applicant at this time.
And will this count as their first meeting?
It would if you open the public hearing, yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question. Daniel, with first, there's 2 questions, and this may relate to legal. One is, do you add the ADU square footage for purposes of determining whether additional off-street parking is required under code?
Yes, in this situation, we
Okay.
we are, and we previously were not, and that's where the problem lies.
Okay, and legally, we're good with that, Patrick?
Correct, yeah. So the specific code language, the total gross floor area of the quote residential structure. Structure is defined very broadly in our code. Our office has looked into it. We are in agreement with staff's recommendation tonight.
Okay, then the second question is, my understanding of ordinance, I want to make sure, so when I hear applicant and up for the board, once you exceed the 1,500 square feet, you have to comply with the parking current code?
Right. Otherwise, if you're under 1,500 square feet, you can provide just one on-site parking space uncovered. But once you go over 1,500 square feet, you need to provide 2 covered parking spaces.
Okay, thank you.
The public hearing is now open. You have the floor, 5 minutes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Vincent DiBiase. I'm the architect. This is Mike McVicker. He's the owner, one of the owners. They're both here tonight.
Lauren, my wife. and
Lauren's here
my
also.
son, Hudson.
Yeah. Just real quick, we just got this letter this afternoon, then a subsequent phone call. I mean, and sorry, staff, I really felt bad for you guys on the phone. So with regard to this whole thing, we've worked very closely with staff over the last 2 years to get to this point. And we removed the square footage of the ADU space because state of California says we can have a separate ADU and it's attached. And then proceeded to do the additions, which stay basically where the existing house would be. It's 1,470 square feet. That area, as far as the parking goes, is everything up there is existing non-conforming. There isn't much of anything on that hill that isn't. It's all old county stuff. The parking regulation that you're quoting says if we do not exceed a certain square footage, We don't have to include our parking. The ADU does not require parking. We're within a half a mile of the Coast Highway. So we wouldn't have to provide parking for the ADU in any respect. So it is a separate unit. It'll be separate from utilities, it'll be separate in all ways. And I think that's what everybody understood, staff and everybody, as we moved forward on this. This letter came at the last second and blew a bunch of stuff up, but it just seemed a little bit harsh for where we are at this point, you know? So I want to give a couple minutes to Mike here and let him talk, okay? Thank you so much for listening to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit of a travesty, right? We were fine up to 2 hours ago. And now, you know, after Vince and ourselves have been back and forth with the town, probably 10 times plus. And Daniel, you've had plenty of opportunity to raise this in the past and never did. And you get one letter from a neighbor and all of a sudden you're changing your opinion at the last minute. I've been waiting 2 years. My son is out here. We've been waiting to build a bedroom for him in our house. We designed this specifically so that we could stay there and not even necessarily rent out the ADU, have an ADU for family members that need it and have a bedroom for my son. And we went through the process and it's been long, it's been laborious, it's been expensive. And you get a letter that's not even accurate 3 hours before the meeting, and now you're going to say no go, and Daniel, you're going to shift your opinion at the last second. This is horrible.
And when I look at it, I have to look at it from the code standpoint. Code and the whole thing about the ADU being separate and everything else made sense to everybody at the time because of what I said. Doesn't require parking for that. And we're going to stay under 14 or 1,500 square feet for the main residence. It's two separate units. Structure, I understand, but even if we had an attached ADU, we built a brand new one that was attached, that doesn't increase the square footage. You can attach an ADU to that house and call it ADU and house. We're not doing anything different than tying the two together. So I ask you to look at this from the standpoint of not structure, but look at it. State of California says we can do this. You guys have embraced it and told us how to do that. We've done it. We've complied with the parking. We redesigned the house, increased it to the amount we put 30 feet under the amount we could. And I thought we complied. And all the neighbors around, we spoke with them all. And I work with them, make sure we weren't in anybody's view. We are not above any height. We do not do anything that asks for a variance or we do not exacerbate the existing nonconformities. We say those have to be made current, obviously. All our new stuff's within the setbacks. We've complied. So I ask that you look at it from that standpoint. I mean, you saw the house, you can't see anything we're doing from the street. You know, even the parking, hang on one second, okay. And the parking itself, if you're worried about that, let's do a revocable encroachment permit. I mean, that seems to wrap that up. So if you could just look at it from that standpoint, that there are ways to mitigate this without just blowing the whole thing up. All right? Thank you so much.
25 more seconds if you'd like to speak.
You want to say something?
You will also have a
We looked at
rebuttal.
building a garage, right? It's a complex thing that would require a lot of movement of soil and cost an insurmountable amount of money. It would be $300,000 approximately to build a garage.
Okay,
And it would
thank you.
encroach on the existing structure and possibly put that at risk.
Thank
Plus, we
you.
have to ask for variance for that because it would be in the front setback. We can't avoid.
You'll
that.
have 3 minutes for rebuttal.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I'll shut up now.
Is there any member of the public that wishes to speak for or against this project? Please come to the podium. No? No one?
You want to
Okay.
say something?
You have 3 minutes.
I won't take up the whole 3 minutes. Anyway, I've sort of given you all the things that I think that are code-wise for you guys to actually look at. Lauren?
I'm really at a loss for words, so I'm sorry. Because this kind of came out of nowhere. So I'm just at a loss for words. That's all. It's just a friend of ours, so I'm confused. And again, I thought we were sticking to code, so I'm confused. That's all. And
Yeah.
I don't really get it. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, they're upset because they actually spoke with that neighbor this morning going, hey, I wish you luck. And then bang.
I don't, so now, I don't know.
It does hurt.
And you guys you spoke to the fact
Yeah.
that we always park one of our cars in the front
But
and we.
how we can go through a process for 2+ years and 2 hours before this, there's a shift in somebody's mindset because of a letter, right?
Well, we haven't had a
That-
chance to
that-
speak to him and he didn't show up.
We don't even have time to like
I-
actually assimilate it. We're still upset from receiving it. And so for
And-
how you can shift in a.
Please, just address the board,
That's
please.
it. And
Yeah.
the other thing is, Mike is well aware that we had planned to also even just make it a little, wider so that we could, but there was never, anyway, we're friends. I don't understand. I don't know what to say, but thank you.
Okay.
I
Does
guess
that
we're done.
wrap up your comments? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Do board members have questions? Yeah, your microphone.
This goes to you, Daniel, and to Patrick. Is there any way we can waive this requirement as a board, or are our hands tied?
You want me to go? Yeah, so I mean, so the code says what the code says. It says that if the total gross floor area of the residential structure does not delineate to then say residential structure excludes any detached ADU. And it says including the proposed enlargement or addition does not exceed 1,500 square feet. And so based off of this, I mean, maybe I'll defer to Wendy. I don't know if they would need to apply for, no, a variance wouldn't even necessarily apply.
Yeah, would the variance rules apply to this, and can we grant a variance to address this problem?
Not tonight.
Not tonight because it wasn't noticed.
No, or maybe can a variance address the problem?
Depending on what's proposed, so if they were to propose a garage, and it was situated within a setback area that would necessitate a variance, then based upon the surrounding properties and the conditions,
Potentially.
potentially.
Yeah, the problem is there's no variance agendized. All right, thanks.
Sir, how many existing parking spaces do you have on site?
Well, it's half on, half off. It's one.
One parking space for the,
It's been that way since the house was built.
right, no, I understand.
Is half a generous description of the space on the property?
No, it's a full space.
I mean, but most of the parking spots in the right of way, based on how it's.
Yeah, it's, again, it's in the right of way and most of it is, I guess, but again,
Daniel, can you pull up
revocable
a-
encroachment permit.
Then our neighbor's steps that raised this, his steps are in the encroachment area.
I mean, a lot of them
Where
are.
it currently sits is in the encroachment area.
Daniel, can you pull up A0? I just want to make sure I'm looking at this the right way.
Up and down the street, everything is in the encroachment area. It's just the way they built them at that point in time.
No, I understand.
And we're trying to bring all those
Through,
into conformity as projects come forward.
a standard space is what, 8 wide by 18?
And for inside of a garage
Or
or
it's a standard
parallel?
parking space is
8 by
8
18.
feet by 18.
8 by 18.
Great, okay, so 8 by 18. So if we had 8 by 18 on this little carve out, how much would you predict is in the property parcel versus the right of way? Given that the black dotted line is the property.
Are you asking me?
Oh,
You could say a portion of it, not exactly 50%.
Yeah, I don't know what to do from here. Any other questions?
No,
This
I
is a,
do deliberations first.
yeah, I have to close the public hearing. Do you guys have anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that you've had 2.5 years to say that this is not correct. And at the last minute, when Patrick or whoever looks at it, and wrongly interprets the code, that now my project isn't being approved?
Mr. Donegan, can you give advice on
Correct. So
direction?
I can assure you, while I'm very happy to be up here, I am not a dictator. I do not come down and give, edicts of this is exactly how it should and should not be. I am a functioning member of the team. This was made in conjunction with colleagues from my office, as well as multiple members of the city planning department. Understand the applicant's frustration, totally get it. But I can assure you, I didn't parachute in here at the 11th hour and say, nope, we are doing it different. I am,
Is
sir,
our
yes.
city attorney.
Just
Yeah.
for me, if I can.
Yes, please.
So, comments? Is there, or did you have another question?
I just have a few comments. My comments are going to be real brief, and I wanted to kind of lay this out, kind of the groundwork. When I looked at the house and I saw I had made it within the 1,500, the parking's not good on that street, including on your property. But I didn't think it was fair to you to be second guessing it. And even when I got the letter, and I'm not even sure we should second guess it where, particularly in that area with such a modest. The ADU, I assume, was off the table. The way I see it, our hands are tied. We have to rely on council. We can't be interpreting code that's different than the way staff and council are advising us. We can't take the law into our own hands, unfortunately, and I really feel bad for you. We're hearing that the ADU square footage gets added, which requires 2 covered parking under our code. A variance is the potential, and we can continue this hearing for you to pursue that, but we can't consider a variance until it's agendized. So our hands are tied at this point, and I feel bad for you. I mean, I really do.
Can I ask
No, the public hearing is closed. I'm
Very
sorry.
close.
We're,
So-
we're giving comments right
So
now.
anyway, I suggest that we continue this to explore a resolution and that staff can work with the applicant to come up with the best. And, for purposes of a variance, I will tell you, I need, my opinion isn't, I don't have a decision because I need to consider all the facts, but I would, in this circumstances, be inclined to consider it.
Thank you, Tom. Mr. Weil, you have the floor.
So, I did get a chance to speak to Mike, and I think in agreement with kind of his conversation, it's a nice house. Like what you come up in concept wise works. The structure works. I don't believe Mike's intent was to be as complicated as it was, and I'll probably take some of this ownership myself, because when I went to the site today, my first question was, well, what about parking? In all honesty, there hasn't been a single house in 5 years that I've been on this board that's done a remodel that has 0 parking on its site. There's none. So for you to come 2 years down the line with this understanding that no parking, no full-size space of parking on your property is the right approach to go to a remodel, you might have been misled. Yeah.
Sir,
It's not
we're
for the
not
discussion.
discussion.
I haven't seen it. So out of my mind, from design review criteria, access is one of the first ones on the page.
Mhm.
Parcels are constrained, and we do make, as a board, considerations. We accept variances and nonconformities or makeshift things to try to make things better. In South Laguna, where your property is, there's lots of nonconformities. There's lots of properties built across property lines, close to the edge of property lines. We see that regularly. But we also try to make, when we do consider those expansions or those changes or modifications to those nonconformities, how are we getting parcels back into the space or moving elements back into conformity? No, I'm just,
And
He's providing
it's
comment.
not a discussion. If you'd like to leave, you're more than welcome to leave. I didn't cut you off, sir. You cut me off.
We're in comments right now, so the public hearing is closed, which means we're not engaging with you. We're giving you feedback for what you need to do to come back and get an approval.
So yeah, when I went back to review the site, I went to the code. I went to chapter 25.56.08008. And that's where I went to try to understand whether parking was in the right space. Yes, I threw the question back to staff, and throughout the day, they worked on it. And they came to their determination. I think parking needs to be incorporated on the parcel to a degree. I'd like to let you guys come up with that solve to provide it for us, and I'll consider it. I'll consider all options that make parking better for your parcel. Because the neighboring parcels all have parking in their space or on their property to some degree. And I think it's the right of the neighborhood context and the construction that should occur for the property and the remodel. So for that, I'm supportive of staff's recommendations for the continuance, and I'd like to see that parking element. But as far as the rest of the house, it's in a good spot.
And it's frustrating. I'll go ahead from that. I'll do a continuation. I feel your frustration. My heart goes out to you guys, but we have to make this right. And this is our opportunity to be able to do it. So I concur with staff's recommendation to continue and figure out, let you guys problem solve this and figure out how you can get parking on that lot.
I'm stuck. I'm sick about it. However, this whole ADU world in our world has become so complicated in that people utilize it as a way to work around certain things. And I appreciate that. It's a legitimate process. I did notice the parking looked thin in that whole area. And I thought, well, and I read the staff report and assumed that it was all good. But hearing the details of the zoning, I feel like, as Tom said, our hands are tied. It's unfortunate. I do think there might be a solution to get something close and without spending $300,000 of digging out earth and jeopardizing the security of your home. I'm afraid I'm just a board member with that point of view. Thank you.
And I would agree with my colleagues. One of my notes on my iPad before I went to the site was there's insufficient parking. Then when I went to the site and I saw how difficult it was to park, and it's the one thing that I thought was glaring even before this letter came through. So I had a problem with the parking initially, even before the letter, if that makes you feel any better. So I'm sure you're very intelligent. You're a great architect. You can come up with some solution to this where you can provide some on-site parking. I think it's doable.
Do we have dates available?
So for submittals would need to be due by September 25th, which is in 2 weeks, for November 14th, design review board meeting, or submittals due by October 23rd for the December 12th hearing. We don't have the 2025 calendar approved yet, so I don't have options for 2025 yet.
Okay.
Soon.
Which date would you like to come back? December or November?
It would have to be later. Yeah, the soonest I could resubmit something is October.
So would you like to December 12th?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
That would allow us a lot of time to do things and look at stuff and get things redid and all that kind of stuff. So.
okay. December 12th?
Do you want me to make the motion?
I would love that. Thank you.
Okay, I move that design review application 24-1159 for the project located at 32002 Sunset Avenue be continued to December 12, 2024.
I second.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs,
Yes.
Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Thalman,
Yes.
and Chair Gannon.
Yes,
Motion passes with a continuance to December 12th.
thank you. I apologize. I'm sorry, you guys.
We'll see you next.
Thank you. Look
Thanks a
forward
lot.
to it. All right, next up, it is agenda item number 5.3. Would the applicant team please come forward? Ex parte.
Chair, I drove by the site.
I'm sure you'll problem solve that. Oh, yeah, ex parte. I met with the applicant team and met with the neighbor next door.
I met with Colin Lebach, who's the applicant owner, and Robert Lawrence. And then I also met with Craig Coffin, next door neighbor.
I met with the applicant and the neighbor, Craig Goff.
That everyone?
Oh, me, I met with Colleen, the property owner, and then the neighbor, Craig.
So this is agenda 5.3 located at 219 La Brea Street. This is up for design review 24-0743. Mr. Wank?
Thank you. Good evening, Design Review Board and members of the public. Item 5.3 is a request for design review at 219 La Brea Street, located in the R2 zone. The site is currently developed with a duplex, elevated decks, and an accessory dwelling unit. On March 20th, 2024, the project was heard at an administrative design review hearing for the addition of a new window in the primary bedroom. Due to neighbor concerns regarding privacy raised at the hearing, the project was referred to the board. One additional new window and one expanded window were identified as change from the prior plans, which have been included in this request. The proposed project includes the installation of 2 new windows and a modification of one existing window. One new window is located on the upper level of the east elevation facing the alley. The remaining window to be added and window to be expanded are located on the upper level of the north elevation facing the adjacent property at 231 La Brea Street. Staff has received concerns from the adjacent property owner at 231 La Brea Street regarding privacy impacts of the proposed windows. If the design review board determines that the project is consistent with the privacy design review criteria, it is recommended that the board adopt a resolution approving design review 24-0743 and find said action exempt from CEQA. That will conclude my staff summary, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Questions for staff?
Yeah, I guess one question, the current construction that's all there in the staff report, I wasn't following where and when those approvals were granted. I mean, code enforcement was noted for 2023, but something in 1987? There's got to be something between those two dates.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me take a look. I know that there was construction done and revisions submitted throughout the process. I don't know the specific dates for those, but I'm happy to check in.
There's kind of related to that question on figure 3 and figure 4 in the staff report. It shows the existing approved north elevation and the proposed. The existing plan came from something. Is that the 1987 approved plan?
No, it's from the most recent construction set.
The one showing the old windows, it says approved north elevation figure 3. If you pull up that page from the staff, it's page 4. Because that's the comparison, the apples to apples, showing what the approved is versus what the proposed, which is already constructed, is. And so I assume that figure 3 approved north elevation was from the 1987 plans that were approved by DRB. If that's not correct, we should know that.
Yes, let me pull up that portion of the staff report first, and then I will check that section as well. And you said on page 4?
I believe he did, yes.
Page 4. So I believe that these were pulled from the current construction documents identifying the existing and then the proposed windows. This would be the existing elevation.
Garrett, I'm not sure you answered my question. Is figure 3 from the 1987 approved plans or something else? And if it wasn't the 1987 approved plans, were the figure 3 in approved plans, and when were they approved? I don't see any DRB or other approval in the staff report. So I assumed it was 1987. If it isn't, what was approved in 1987? And then is everything, any changes from 87 before us? Now, I say this because Craig said to me that there were no windows approved along that side. I may have misunderstood him, but I thought from reviewing staff report, he was incorrect.
Let me pull up the permit history and I can share that on screen.
It says in figure 3 approved. So, is that a correct word for the figure 3 plans?
Sheila, would you mind if we ask the applicant team on their recent history of approvals, if they might know?
Yes, if they're, are you
If-
educated enough?
If
Yeah.
the applicant might be educated enough on their recent history of approvals.
Let's ask, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we turn?
I think that's what you're asking staff, but since they don't know, maybe
Yeah.
these guys can give us a
I
little
agree
direction.
with you. Let's move on to the applicant.
Go ahead, Robert.
Sure. Absolutely. So, I guess there's three windows in question. Two of the windows, the one off the bathroom and the one off the closet facing the alley, were both approved. I've set a plans here. Were both approved on February 3rd of 2023. And then there was one window that was added up high off the bedroom. That's the one the one that inadvertently got installed but not approved and permitted. The one that has obscure glass on it. So there's one that was not. Yeah.
And that's what's in code enforcement, correct? Is that
Exactly.
there was additional,
The one single
Okay.
window was in code enforcement, right?
but
My understanding.
staff, so there was approved plan sets in February of 2023. Was that an over-the-counter approval or was that?
Yes, so there was a remodel permit issued in 2022 and some revisions constructed and submitted and permitted in 2023. Two of those items were windows that I believe were erroneously approved and should have gone through some sort of design review. And those are the two windows that are, well, one is facing the alley and one is the reconfiguration expansion of an existing approved window that we do see on that elevation.
That's okay. So that answers that question. So the question then is, are the approval of I guess on the proposed north elevation. So basically we had a prior approval of a smaller window in that location that was not done correctly. And now it's in front of us on the larger one. So, or what you call in here, the expansion proposed. Is that right?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Okay, so that answers that question.
Yeah.
Everyone, I understand it,
Yeah.
I think.
All right. Any other questions, the staff? All right. Public hearing is now open. You have 5 minutes.
Hello, I'm Robert Lawrence. I'm the architect, and this is Patrick Obach, the owner here. Thank you for making your time today to hear us out. Well, I kind of already got started with my explanation of the windows, but just wanted to clarify that the one window that was called expanded was just a replacement of an existing bathroom window that actually is around the same size. There was no expansion of that window. It's a small awning window that is also obscured, and the previous window was, I think, a sliding window, I believe. And that might have looked large. It might have had a different configuration to it. We just took that out, put in an awning window, moved over a little bit to have a better position in the bathroom, and put that back in this place. So it wasn't didn't feel like it was a big change to the view or someone's privacy at that point. So in the other window that's added to the closet was approved and permitted as Garrett mentioned. And we did, again, they didn't think that was an issue either because it faces the alley and does it, and it was a little bit higher and looks out toward the rear. So I didn't feel like it was obstructing with the privacy of the adjacent owner. And then of course, the window in question is the one that was inadvertently installed but not permitted. The one that was off the rear part of the master bedroom. where that we strategically placed a little bit higher and obscured the glass. We wanted to just bring more light into the room. That was the whole intention of it. Would not really have a view, would just bring more light into the bedroom because it's kind of dark in that area. So that was really the intention of that window. So so we're looking for approval on all those items. And I think I'm complete with my comments there.
Okay,
Do you have any
lovely.
questions?
Good. And so the one bad window, we'll call it, it was installed so it can only open about this far, maybe half an inch. You can't really look out of it at all. That'll help with a little bit of cross ventilation for airflow. That's what that is.
Okay, great. Does that conclude your comments?
Yes, it does. Sure.
Okay. And at this time, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this project? Oh, come to the podium, please. You have 3 minutes. Mrs. Rendon, is the clock ticking? Start the clock, please.
Good evening.
Yeah.
My name is Craig Coffin. I am the neighbor next door, which I've met 4 of you. Thank you very much for coming down today. I hope for 3 outcomes in tonight's meeting. Number 1 is that the unpermitted window that they were just talking about that was out of the master bedroom was placed by the owner in an unpermitted way. How they just described it with it opening just a small amount, that is untrue. It matches one of the other windows that opens up like that. So it does cause a privacy issue. Also, it allows for more sound that comes from their deck where they party in the summertime. And so there will be both sound and there will be also more lack of privacy. And they did it after the fact. Number 2, one of the outcomes I want is that the major alterations they made on those windows that we were just discussing, facing the kitchen, my kitchen, dining room and living room, back deck and master bedroom, be altered in such a way as not to allow a visual corridor. And that would be easily done. All they have to do is switch the windows to the outside so it's looking down towards La Brea and not in through my kitchen window that shows into my dining room or my living room. And my the third outcome I'd like tonight, that I would like tonight, is certainly not to be accosted again by Mr. Laubach as I was the last time during the administrative design review meeting in March, after I gave my presentation expressing my disapproval of the unpermitted windows. His aggressive activities and actions toward me were witnessed by Martina Carone, who was conducting the review, Garrett Wank, who was sitting over there, and the audience who came to my rescue when I called out for help. Now, I've met with four of you, and Jessica Gannon and MJ Coveney. Jessica, you were very quick in your assessment. You were there maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and you approved it. MJ, you were more polite, more empathetic, less dismissive, and listened. But you too also approved it, saying that, and I asked about, are these people not held accountable for behaviors of violations? And you said this happens all the time and was very dismissive. This is what leads to a lot of your responsibility. And this is what this couple have done. And they have a long record of having their project disapproved, shut down. What I would like, as I've said before, I'd like that window that's in the master bedroom to be removed. That's what design review would have done before. I've been living with this for 13 months. Secondly,
You're
I'd like the
in
windows
conclusion.
in the side of the house just modified. That's all they need to do is modify. And that would make me happy, but we feel very unsafe sitting in our
Mr.
dining room
Coffin,
with
in
this-
conclusion. Thank you, Mr. Coffin.
You're very welcome.
Great.
Madam Chair, if I may, just for the record, there has been no prejudgment by any of the board members up here. This is the reason for the hearing tonight. Why we take public comment, why we hear from the applicant tonight, and hopefully, I shouldn't say that, maybe tonight is when a decision will be made. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I would like to say, I never once said that this was an approvable project. And 5 minutes was
Sure.
more than enough time. Okay, any questions for the applicant? Oh, rebuttal, yes, that's right. You have 3 minutes to rebuttal.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure which member came to the house and opened the window in question. How far did it open?
I opened the window and I'm not gonna be
We're not holding,
answering
we're
that
holding
question.
comments for later. You have 3
Oh,
minutes.
But
for
just so you
rebuttal.
know, I was the
Yeah.
one who tried.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you again. My only comment is that, from our standpoint, we, as as sensitive as we could be to the neighbor, we did all we could to obscure glass, made the windows an awning opening to not make it fully visual to the neighbor next door. And again, that third window off the closet is facing the alley, so that shouldn't be an issue, but so I think we did everything in our creativity to at least make it as non-evasive as possible. So, thank you.
And concerning the sound or the noise, I don't know what deck he's referring to that we party on. We do have a deck on the opposite side of the house that we do have at that same level.
Right.
There is no deck at that level of the window whatsoever. So I'm not quite sure what deck he's talking about, quite
The one
honestly.
Facing the beach, I would get, and then, yeah.
Yeah, so the one deck faces the beach, a totally opposite side of Mr. Coffin's house, his residence. So I'm at a loss.
Yeah,
Don't know what to say.
It'd be hard for sound to go through a smaller
It,
window.
it would be.
Okay, does that conclude your comments?
Yes, sure.
A rebuttal? Okay, thank you. Board, questions with the applicant, for the applicant? No?
I have one question, and I did visit the site. I didn't have an opportunity to set up appointments, but I have a picture of the window, and I believe it's open. And that window goes to what? The one that only opens this far?
Well,
There's-
one goes to the master bathroom.
That is the master bathroom?
I'm not sure which way to look
Well,
at it.
I'm
there's,
looking at this one here.
I believe that's the one that goes, it opens from the master bedroom.
From the master
I believe
bedroom.
so.
Yeah, is it a long shaped one, elongated?
And this one?
Yeah, I can't see it. from
it,
here.
it opens from the
Oh,
bottom.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's two
I
there's
tried
two that
to-
open from the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then the other
Chris,
one is
one
over
to
the
left
stairwell.
is the master.
Yes, correct. The one on the left is the master. That's right.
Okay.
No, this window is this
Yeah.
one in the bathroom. That window's the laundry room.
Okay.
The one that's right here is the one they're talking about.
And which one is obscured?
They both are.
They both are.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all three of those windows are obscured.
Any more questions? All right, public hearing is closed. We're going to go into board comments.
Wait, I just
Mr.
have one
Weil?
question for staff.
Oh, okay.
So obviously this is a code enforcement design review. Are we as a board supposed to take this as, always say this wrong, de novo, like with fresh eyes, like whether the window's there or not, like what would we approve just on our own? How are we supposed to consider it?
We should be reviewing it as if it was a new window being proposed.
And non-existent. Not currently existent.
That is correct.
Yeah.
The city's goal is always compliance. There is no role for you guys to be putative or draconian or anything like that. That is code enforcement, other department.
Okay.
I
thank
can
you.
make comments.
Yeah,
Ready for
make
comments? So that's how I looked at it, just so you know, Louis. I looked at it as if this was being proposed with the gray wall and you were requesting to put windows in various areas from what I would assume was for light or airflow is generally why we want them. When you put them so high, I assumed you were trying to accommodate privacy, whether it be yours or your neighbors. Really, when I looked at it on the paper, I at that point hadn't been to the properties. So I looked at that and saw that it appeared that they were for privacy and, like I said, airflow or light. When I went to the property and looked, I saw that there were no privacy concerns from your point of view, from your property. Looking over at the neighbors, I didn't see from your point of view a privacy issue. So everything seemed good. The glazing or the texture you put on the windows was great, and those are always quite helpful. It didn't seem like an excessive amount of windows. The alley window doesn't appear to be bothering anyone that hasn't discussed it. As far as you not permitting and how you went through this process, obviously we encourage everybody to go through the building permit process. I'm not going to even judge how that came about or why, but would encourage everyone that can hear my voice to continue to try to follow our guidelines. When I went to your neighbor's house, Mr. Coffin's house, I did not see any privacy issues from his perspective. I see windows, which gives you when you first look at them, you think these are going to look into my home. They're windows. But when you really assess it and you see how from the inside of your home, you see that no one's going to be in that area hanging out the window. It offers a great breeze for you. No view down into his home that seemed obtrusive into any private areas. Everything seemed very compliant. And if this was before me as a new build, first pass, I would definitely give this approval based on the privacy criteria having been met. Architecturally overall, it's compliant as well in design integrity with your building. So it supports that criteria as well. There is no view equity issues that appeared to be impacted by adding these windows. So with those three primary criteria, design review criteria, I can approve the windows as presented in your application.
Thank you. Mr. Weil? Okay, Ms. Thomson?
Yes. I believe that I can approve this project tonight. I think it does meet the design review criteria. And I didn't see a privacy issue from the street, and I have pictures from both properties, and the fact that the windows are obscure, and the fact that the alternative would be a block wall that the individual would be looking at. So it didn't seem to be a privacy issue in my mind, so I can approve it tonight.
Mr. Gibbs?
Yeah, so I looked at it from the standpoint of if this was being presented without the windows there. One of the things that we look at in privacy is when there's window placement, does it look into a primary area like a kitchen or living room? And secondly, if it does, going to be relocated. Moreover, we look at whether it's a necessary, important window from the applicant's standpoint. There's different issues relating to windows. One is somebody looking through, and the glazing prevents that. I'm a little concerned with the bathroom window because it opens a lot more. And to answer your question, the bedroom window only opens about an inch. So I didn't want to testify in response to your question, but I took a picture of it. But there's also light, particularly at night. When you're in your living room, you don't want to have a window in sight that has light emanating from it. Now, looking at the bathroom, you need a window in there. You've changed the size of the window. I'll just tell you, I don't think that's a significant change from what was approved before. I'm a little concerned that there is no window approved, but I'm not hearing that. So I can approve that window based upon there being a prior approval and that there was a window there. With respect to the window in the bedroom, it does emanate light. It does look into Craig's living room, and it does emit light because you have light in the bedroom. And my colleagues may disagree with me, but if that was coming before me, new, without it being there, I would look in the bedroom and see, is this a necessary window that you need in there? And I didn't see it. You have other windows in there. You have other airflow. So while I can approve the bathroom window, I would I want to hear what my colleagues have to say, but I would not approve the bedroom window. Other than that, the alley window is fine.
Mr. Weil.
Garrett, I sent you a couple photos. I just kind of want to talk to it. In the same light of my colleagues, yeah, I'm taking a look at this as kind of fresh, whether the window's there or not is irrelevant to kind of my evaluation for this evening. It's always hard when we have houses that are close together and it's the side yard setback, but there is a consideration that lets, a house have windows and balance that element of privacy within our guidelines. In a lot of applications in the past, whether it was this project or other ones, when we have windows that are kind of close in proximity or, of potential impact, I'm quick to try to obscure them, right? Especially in bathroom windows, it's privacy both ways, right? And so I think in just your own application of obscuring it on your own was a choice that I often make here on the board. So for me, Garrett, did those come through? The bedroom window, it's not ideal that it looks uphill and not towards a view, but the fact that it is obscured would be the only way that I would approve it in its current location. It is small in its own right, but because of the way it's obscured, it's the right application. That light would be emanated in a lot different directions, so it wouldn't necessarily be a bright open window at anyone's given time. Plus, it's a bedroom. A lot of people put blinds in front of those things, when they're private, or at night. So I think, from a privacy element or a light intrusion, it's pretty minimal in its location. This one is the laundry room window on the left. That one didn't seem to be as privacy, and nor do I think it's under review for tonight. The next one. This was the view from Craig's house and living room. Yes, the window is visible, but that window is 100% opaque. You can't see through it, or at least in my perspective. Next slide. Or next picture. This is that window. There's no visual through it. So for me, that was the right application. And that was the bathroom window. Again, very minimal, lets air out, flow for a bathroom, which is, I think, a normal application. But you can't see the neighbor's house, so there's no privacy. So for me, I can support the project as it is this evening. Yeah.
Thank you. And I support board member comments, especially Mr. Wiles' comments. I visited both the neighbors and the applicant, and I appreciated the windows already being obscured. And I didn't think that there was any light that was available to be to permeate towards the exterior. Thank you for the pictures. That was very helpful. I was going to say the windows were offset. You guys positioned the windows so that they were offset, so they weren't looking directly in. And the one that Mr. Wild just showed, where you could see the window to the left, the bedroom window, was that in a closet? It was in a closet, right? So it's not even the main part of the bedroom. So that's just airflow for the closet. So I can approve this project tonight. There's no privacy issue that I could detect, and I see no reason to not approve this project based on the evidence presented this evening.
Would you like a motion?
I would like a motion, yes.
Chair will make a motion to adopt resolution 240743 for the property at 219 La Brea Street, approving design review 24-0743 for window modifications and finding said action exempt from CEQA under section 15301, and that it meets all the design review guidelines.
Second.
Board Member Coveney,
Yes.
Board Member Gibbs.
Because the application includes the bedroom window on the north elevation, I'm voting no.
Okay. Board Member Weil,
Yes.
Chair Pro Tem Thalman,
Yes.
and Chair Gannon.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other items on the agenda? So we can adjourn.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
the only thing I just wanted to introduce Maria Ballard, our new senior office specialist.
Hello.
She'll be joining us at future design review board meetings. So she's sitting in with Ashley to learn the ropes. And so just wanted to welcome her.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome, Maria.
Welcome.
Thank you. Okay, so we're adjourned to September 26th, is it? Where's my calendar?
Yep.
Maria, this will be the shortest meeting you've ever been to.
Did we?
We are adjourned to September
Chris, it's
26th. Thank
after
you.
6. We're 5